Okay, so 11.6 is on adding and subtracting rational expressions, and we are going to do 4 problems today. The first 2, they already have a common denominator, so it's actually quite easy. We just keep that denominator of 2x, and then we add 5 plus 7 to get 12. Now, once we add, we might be able to simplify. So since this can simplify by 2, this is going to become 6 over x. And then just for good practice, we're going to say that x can't be 0. And we're going to look at any other denominator in the problem and see if that's the case as well. There's no more additional values that are excluded, so we're good. This problem also has common denominators, so I just get to keep that denominator the same because we're still talking about y plus 4. And then I'm going to say 3y minus y is 2y. And then this negative also gets distributed to that negative 8, so then it's now plus 8. I want to look to see if I can simplify, but I have to remind myself these are polynomials, so I can't simplify them unless they are identical. But this top one has a common factor of 2, so I can factor that out. And now I have polynomials that are identical, so this one actually reduces just to 2. I'm still going to state that y can't be negative 4. There's no more variable in this one, but it's always good to look at our excluded values. So the trick is, what happens when we have fractions that are not common denominators? So just like, let's say that this denominator didn't have an x squared, and this one didn't have an x. So our common denominator, we would have to find multiples of 6 and 8 that are in common. So that's going to give us, let's see, we've got 8 and 16 and then 24, so this would be 24. And then we want to look at multiples of x and x squared that are in common. And basically you can always go with the one that has the higher exponent. So this would be our common factor, or our least common denominator. That's our LCD, lowest common denominator. So we have 24x squared. Now, what are we actually going to multiply each one by to get that? So this one we need to multiply by 3x over 3x, and this value that I'm multiplying by would reduce to 1, so I'm not changing the value of the fraction, I'm changing the appearance of the fraction. And this one we would need to multiply by 4 over 4. Okay, so when we do that, 3x times 1 is 3x. And then 4 times x is 4x. 4 times that is negative 8. And we're just going to clean this up over here. So then we get 7x minus 8 over 24x squared. My only excluded value is 0. That cannot simplify. Even though 8 and 24 have something in common, we have to remember that this is a polynomial. We cannot break it down unless it's identical. So now down here, let's go ahead and take a look at this. And we want to find, again, our common denominator. This is going to factor to be x minus 6 and x minus 2. So the x minus 6 is already there, but the second one is missing an x minus 2. So when it's in factored form, it's kind of easy to be like, well, we already have that in common, so now I need to multiply by what I'm missing so that they both have it in common. So this first one already has both, so it's just going to stay x plus 3. I'm going to put them both over the same denominator, so we have x minus 6 and x minus 2. And then I'm going to say that this is a negative 2. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Okay, so this would combine. We have x minus 2x is negative x. 3 plus 4 is 7. And x minus 6. X minus 2. Again, polynomials can't reduce unless they are identical, so I'm just going to state x cannot be 6 or 2. That's it for today. Let me know if you have any questions. The important thing to remember is when you're finding that lowest common denominator, look at the factors of each and then see which ones are missing. And so the factors of each need to be the same. So you might need to increase the factors, which is why we multiply by something. Sometimes we only multiply one fraction, sometimes we multiply both. It really just depends on the problem.